The first light of the dawn filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow across the bedroom. Vine stood under the cover, feeling the warmth of Tyung's body next to her. She slowly opened her eyes, turning her head to see Tyung. Tyung whispering, "Good morning, beautiful." His voice was low, still husky from sleep, and it sent a pleasant shiver down her spine. Vine smiled back, her heart flirting. Vine playfully, "Good morning, Mr. Grumpy. You look less serious than last night." Tyung chuckled, a sound deep and soothing. He reached out, brushing a strand of her hair from her face and tucking it behind her head. Tyung. Vine felt her cheeks warm at his word, a blush spreading across her face. She snuggled closer to him, enjoying a quiet moment. Tyung's arm wrapped around her, pulling her even closer until she nestled against his chest. Vine, murmuring, "I wish we could stay all like this." Tyung smiling, "Who says we can't?" He leaned down, pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead, then another tip to her nose. One giggled softly, tilting her head to meet his gaze. Their eyes locked, and for a moment it felt like time had stopped. The world outside. Wine teasing, "Don't you have important mafia business in this morning?" Tyung's smile widened, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Tyung playfully, "I think I can make an exception today. Besides, I have my priorities straight." Well loved, her heart swelling with love for the man in front of her. She reached up, cupping his face in her hands and gently guiding him down for a kiss. It was soft and tender. When they finally put away, both were sliding breathless, their forehead resting against each other's, one breathlessly, while making it very hard to get off the bed. Tyung is making, "That's the plan." They lay there for a while longer, wrapped in each other's arms, enjoying the rare moment of peace. Tyung's finger traces lazily patterns on Vine's back. Tyung, after a long silence, "I could guess you still this morning like this." Vine is smiling, her voice soft. "Me too." Finally, Tyung sighed and curled back slightly, his hand lingering on Vine's cheek. Tyung reluctantly, "As much as I have worked to stay here with you all day, we should." Vine nodded, though she wasn't quite ready to let go of the moment. She gave him a moonlight kiss before finally sitting up. Vine lightly, "Fine, but you owe me." The sun was beginning indecent as Vine moved around the kitchen, mentally preparing for the evening ahead. She had told her mate earlier that she didn't need to prepare dinner tonight, as she was trying to cook herself. A guest would be arriving. Vine calmly, "You don't have to worry about dinner tonight. I will handle it. You can the rest of the day." The maid, surprised by the nodded and started gathering her things. Fiona had been lingering nearby, overheard in conversation. Politely, "Who is coming tonight?" One glanced at her, keeping her tone light and casual. "One, just a friend and Tyung's business partner. He will be joining us for dinner." Fiona nodded, though there was a flicker of moment unreadable in her eyes. One considered the offer for a moment. Yuna had been courteous and professional so far, but one couldn't shake the uneasy feeling she got around her. However, everything going on extra help couldn't hurt. One smiling, "Sure, Yuna." Yuna's smile widened slightly as she quickly moved to assist One with the preparation. As they walked together, One couldn't help but notice how Yuna seemed to be watching her closely, almost as if she was studying her. "Do you need cooking, Yuna?" Yuna, nodding, "Yes, I do. It's relaxing. I used to cook for Taiji all the time." As they continued preparing the meal, she asked questions about the dishes. One softly, "I'm making something special tonight. I want everything to be perfect." Yuna, with a slight tilt of her head, "I'm sure it will be. You seem to care about this dinner." One nodded, her mind briefly drifting to a conversation she had with Tyung the previous night. This dinner wasn't just a simple social event, it was a meeting with Rain, a man who had once been close to her. As they worked, the atmosphere in the kitchen gradually lingered. Yuna's efficiency and knowledge of the kitchen made the preparation easier. One found herself appreciating the woman. Finally, the last dish was sent to the simmer. One wiped her hands and towel, turned to Yuna. "Thank you, and I couldn't have done all this without you." Smiling through her eyes seemed distant. "It was my pleasure." Evening, the sun was beginning to set as One put the finishing touches on the dining table. The soft glow of the candles added a warm ambience to the room, setting to the stage for the evening ahead. Just as she was, before she could make her way to the entrance, Yuna, who had tidying up nearby, quickly moved to open the door. Her heart skipped a bit when her eyes landed on a figure standing there. Rain stood in the corner, exuding an air of confidence and sophistication in a sharp black suit. His neatly styled hair and chiseled feature made him look every bit a successful businessman. His dark eyes were calm yet piercing, and his presence commanded attention. Yuna couldn't help but notice how handsome he is. Taeyang was beside him, dressed in a well-fitted suit as well, though his demeanor was more relaxed. He turned to Yuna, giving her a brief nod and stepped inside, following Rain behind. When emerged from the dining area, her face lingered as she saw Taeyang. She walked over to him, wrapping her arms around him in a warm hug. Taeyang's hand rested on her back as he embraced her in a return. One is smiling, "You are here, Mr." She then turned attention to Rain, offering him a welcoming smile and a small hug. Rain returned her smile and hug with one of his own, though there was a glimmer of something unreadable in his eyes. He was holding a small bag, a gesture that piqued one's curiosity. Meanwhile, Yuna stood at the door, her heart racing as she felt Rain's gaze shift to her. There was something intense about the way he looked at her, as if he was trying to read her, to understand her. Yuna's breath caught in her throat and she quickly looked away. Rain politely, "And who might be you?" Wine with a friendly tone. "This is Yuna. She is staying with us for a while to help us, Taiji." Rain's eyes flickered with understanding, a subtle smile playing on his lip. Rain, nodding. "I see, it's a pleasure to meet you." He extended his hand towards her, his grip firm yet courteous. Yuna hesitated for a brief moment before accepting the handshake, her heart still pounding in her chest. He didn't reveal anything more about his connection to Wine, keeping his introduction simple and unassuming. Wine watched the interaction carefully, noting the way Yuna seemed slightly frustrated by Rain's presence. Turning to back Wine, "I bought something to Taichi. I didn't get to meet him properly last time." He lifted the bag slightly, indicating the gifts he had brought. Wine smiled widened at the thought gesture. "Wine warmly, that's kind of you, Rain. Taichi is in his room. I will go get him." She turned to leave, but Taeyang gently touched her arm, stopping her. Softly, "I will go with you." Wine nodded as they walked down the hallway together. Rain and Yuna were left standing near the entrance. Rain glanced at Yuna once more. Rain casually, "You seem a bit nervous, Yuna. Is everything alright?" She quickly composed herself, offering him a polite smile. Shaking her head, "No, everything is just fine. I was expecting to meet someone tonight." Rain's smile deepened, but there was something almost knowing in his eyes. "Well, it's good to meet you. I'm sure we will see more to each other." Before Yuna could respond, Taeyang and Wan returned with Taichi trailing behind them. The little boy looked shy and a bit apprehensive, his small hand clutching Wan's as they approached. Rain's expression softened noticeably when he saw Taichi. He knelt down to the boy's level, offering him a gentle smile. Rain warmly, "Hey there, Taichi, I bought you some gifts. Would you like to see them?" Taichi looked up at Vance for reassurance, and she gave him a comforting nod. Slowly, Taichi stepped forward, his curiosity getting the better of his shyness. Rain quickly pulled out a small, beautiful wrapped package from the bag and handed it to Taichi. The boy's eyes lighted up softly. "Thank you." Rain smiled wider as he watched Taichi unwrap the gift, the atmosphere in the room becoming more relaxed. "Gently, "You are welcome, Taichi. I hope you like it." As Taichi eagerly opened his gift, the jewels watched him with a warm expression. One felt a sense of relief as she saw genuine care Rain showed toward Taichi. The dinner room was warm and inviting. The table set with an array of delicious dishes that Wan and Yuna had prepared together. As everyone settled, there was a sense of quiet anticipation in the air. He seated across from Taeyang and Wan took a bite of the food and immediately looked impressed. He glanced up to Wan, genuine smile on his face, complimenting, "This is amazing, Wana. You have always..." Wan smiled, modestly appreciating the compliment, but before she could respond, his thoughts began to drift. For a moment, he was transported back to the past, remembering the times when used to cook for him, her efforts always meticulous and filled with care. There was a pang. But before Rain could lose himself in the past, Van's voice brought him back to the present. Lightly, "I can't take all the credit. Yuna helped me a lot." Rain's gaze shifted to Yuna, who was quietly eating her food, her expression neutral. But when she felt Rain's eyes on her heart started to race again. There was something about his presence that made her feel nervous. He noticed the way Yuna seemed slightly frustrated under his gaze, and he couldn't help but intrigued. She was younger, and there was an air of innocence about her that contrasted sharply with the life he had, and Taeyang led curiosity decided to learn more. "Gently, you are quite young, Yuna. Are you still in college?" Yuna shook her head, her eyes lowering slightly as she answered, "No, I'm not. I stopped going to college because 2 years ago I didn't have enough money." Rain felt a twinge of something he couldn't quite place. Sympathy, fear, also confusion. He wasn't sure why he felt the need to know more about her, why he was so interested in her story. He realized he had been staring at her. She continued, sensing his curiosity. Mr. Kim has offered to me to continue education, but I just don't want to study anymore. Rain's was furrowing slightly at her word. He couldn't understand why someone so young would give up on the education so easily. There was a part of him that wanted to challenge her, to encourage her. Rain is calling playfully. How can you say that in front of the teacher while living in her house? Yuna blinked, taken back by his tone. She wasn't sure if he was being serious or just teasing, but there was a gentle limit in his voice. Smacking, do you know Wine is a professor, right? A physics professor, and very strict one at that. Wine teasing Rain, not so long. I take study seriously, but also people believe has their own path. If Yona feels that studying isn't for her right now, that's okay. As long as she is happy and doing something she finds fulfilling. Tiang, who had been quietly observing the exchange with her husband, suddenly burst into laughter, remembering something from their past. Tiang laughing. Speaking of streak, you should have been Wine in the day. Rain, do you remember how she used to scold us both for not studying hard enough? Rain joined into laughter, nodding as a memory came flooding back. Rain grinning. Oh, I remember she used to drag us to the library even when we didn't want to go. We couldn't escape her study session. Wine rolled her eyes. Good naturally, though there was a fond smile on her face. Playfully, you were impossible back then. Someone had to make sure you didn't flunk out of school. The young continued to chuckle, clearly enjoying the trip down memory lane. Amused, I still remember the time you caught us trying to sneak out of the library. You gave us such a lecture. Laughing, that's true. I think we were both a little scared of you back then. One laughed along with them, shaking her head, smiling. I wasn't that bad, was I? Teasing you were, but we needed it. And look at us now, success in our own ways. You may all lose. The conversation flowed easily after that, and as much were around the table, becoming more relaxed and filled with warmth. Even Yuna, who had been quite reserved, found herself smiling at a playful banter. There was a sense of camaraderie. As the dinner continued, Rain found his eyes occasionally drifting back to Yuna. There was something about her that intrigued him, something that made him want to understand her better. He didn't know why he felt this way, but he couldn't deny the curiosity growing within him. One noticed the weight and kept glancing at Yuna, and while it made her slightly uneasy, she decided not to dwell on it. For now, she was content with how the evening was going. After dinner, the atmosphere was warm and relaxed. Taichi, who had grown more comfortable with Rain's presence, was now playing with the toys Rain had gifted him earlier. Tiang and Wine were tidying up. As the evening was drawn to close, Rain approached Taichi, who was sitting on the floor, absorbed in his new toys. Rain knelt down to the boy's level, his expression soft and kind. Taichi looked up at him. He smiled shyly, holding on to the toys. He had listened to Rain in a warm tone. You know your mom is very special. She's going to need a lot of care, especially now. Taichi's eyes hardened slightly, not fully understand, but sensing the importance of Rain's word. He nodded slowly. Firmly but kindly, she's going to have a baby soon, so you will have a little brother or sister. It's important that you need to take good care of her, okay? And when the baby comes, you will become a big brother. You have to protect them too. There was a weight in Rain's voice, something unspoken that neither Tiang nor Wine could ignore. Innocently, I will, Mr. Rain. I will take care of my mom and the baby. Rain smiled, reaching out to ruffle the boy's hair gently. Softly, that's goodbye, Taichi. I know you will do a great job. As Rain stood up, he noticed the young man watching him. Their expression was unreadable, but there was a shared tension in the air. When her glanced slightly as she watched the exchange, she knew Rain was thinking about the child was caring. The child was biologically his, but he hadn't revealed this to Taichi, and for that she was both grateful and settled. Tiang, on the other hand, felt a mixture of protectiveness and unease. He was grateful for Rain's kindness toward Taichi, but there was something in the way Rain spoke that made him wary, as if Rain was trying to say. Rain, sensing the tension, quickly shifted his stamina back to the charming, polite guest he had been all the evening. Turning to Wine and Tiang, thank you for this dinner. It was real wonderful. Wine nodded, forcing a smile as she pushed away the thoughts swirling in her mind. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Tiang eyes flickered between Rain and Wine, his mind working through the layers of the situation, but for now he kept the thought to himself, not wanting to disturbed the fragile peace of the evening. With a nod, yes, thank you for coming, Rain. Rain smiled, but there was a flicker of something darker in his eyes, something only Tiang seemed. He prepared to leave while Tiang escorted him to the door. Yuna stood quietly in the corner, her hands clasped together, trying to stay out of the way. However, Rain noticed her presence and turned to say goodbye. With a charming smile, goodbye, Yuna. Yuna looked up, slightly startled that he was addressing her directly. Her cheeks flushed a soft pink, and she quickly lowered her eyes. Feeling suddenly self-conscious, Reen noticed her reaction and couldn't resist teasing her a little. There was something about her innocence and shyness that intrigued him. You know that blush showed you. Yuna blushed deep and she nervously took the strand of hair behind her ear, not quite sure how to respond. Rain chuckled at her reaction, enjoying the effect his words had on her. Leaning in slightly, his voice dropped into a teasing whisper. Maybe next time we will get to know each other. He winked at her, playful glint in his eyes, and Yuna's heart nearly skipped a bit. Her face turned even deeper shade of red, and she barely managed to stammer out a response. Tang and Wan, who had been watching the interaction, exchanged glances, their eyes wide with surprise and shock. They had never seen reenacted so especially not around someone like Yuna. Tang raised an eyebrow, trying to process the situation while Wan felt her. Whispering to Tang, did he just flirt with Yuna? Tang nodded slowly, still trying to wrap his mind around what he had just witnessed. Softly, looks like a train catching their reaction out of the corner of his eyes, simply smiling to himself. He found that surprising, amazing, but didn't dwell on it. With one last look at Yuna,